Hey everyone, it's Clay with Respect the Fish Guide Service. I want to talk to you a little bit about the limitations of using side scan. We've been looking a lot in the recent videos about what side scan can do for your fishing and how it can help you find the fish. But there's a few things that I want you to understand. There's some limitations that go with using your side scan, and I want to talk about that today. One thing that I noticed a couple years ago, I caught about a 30-pound catfish, and I decided to tie him to a jug line with a weight on the bottom and really see what that 30-pound catfish looked like on side scan and other technologies. And I was really shocked at how hard he was to find using the side scan sonar, especially whenever I'd let him sit on the bottom of the lake. A lot of times I would end up driving past him over 15 to 20 times before I had a hint that that fish was even there. And this is a 30-pound catfish. Whenever I suspended that fish just a little bit, I would maybe have to drive past him every 10 to 15 times to get a hint that he was there, instead of every 20 plus times to get a hint that he was there. So my point is, whenever you're using your side scan sonar, you're going to find a lot of fish, hopefully, and whenever you do find those fish, I kind of have this rule of thumb that for every fish that you see, there's probably 10 to 20 other ones sitting there that just didn't make it into the sonar, just didn't make it onto your fish finder. The beam didn't hit it just right. The fish may have been turned at an angle rather than broadside. He may have been sitting inches on the bottom or with belly to the bottom rather than suspended. And so the ones that you see are the ones that are suspended and absolutely broadside to the fish finder. So there's limitations. Just understand when you're driving and you see maybe a dozen fish there, a dozen hybrids or a dozen stripers, that doesn't mean that there's not 300 or 400 fish there. It means that there's at least 12 because you can count 12. So overall, I keep a high standard of what it takes for me to stop on these fish. I want to see 30, 40, 50 of them at least on my graph. But if I'm not seeing that pretty quickly, then I start lowering my expectations and maybe settle for 12 fish. And I've had epic trips come out of the 12 fish that I saw and I stopped on. And before long, it looked like an angry beehive with fish flying under the boat and lighting up the graph. Another limitation to using side scan is the different frequencies. There's 455 and then there's something called mega frequency. The mega frequency has awesome benefits. It's crystal clear HD images of the lake bottom, of the rocks, of the boat ramp, of trees, of brush piles. It provides high quality images up to a short range, about 50 to 75 feet left and right max, typically. One thing it doesn't do is show you the fish overall. I learned that the hard way. I was driving with a buddy trying to tune in his graph, and I didn't realize actually at the time that it was in megahertz. And I was driving past areas where I had seen hundreds or thousands of fish the day before, and I would not see them with his mega imaging. Once I figured that out, I switched over to the 455 and immediately saw hundreds of fish that I had expected to be there. So there's limitation to what frequency you're using. Both of them have mega imaging and 455. They have their place, they have their benefit. It's a lot like a tool. A flathead screwdriver is great, so is a Phillips screwdriver, but they have different purposes. So understand that there's limitations to using 455 versus mega imaging. Mega imaging is great at finding environmental changes in rocks and structure. 455 is great at finding the fish, but maybe not painting a real pretty picture of the brush pile that's there. And it also scans at a larger range, so you can look at maybe a football field at a time rather than just 50 feet left and right, so 100 feet. So understand there's limitations. And understand that sometimes the graph isn't always truthful. You may see 12 fish there, and there's more like 200, 300, 400 fish there. But if there are fish there, it's not going to lie to you. If there's a school of fish there, you see it and you know it. And if you see it on your graph, they're there and you can trust that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a few pointers on side scan and some of the limitations of what it can do in the different frequencies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing, and I'd love to take you fishing. Go to my website, www.respectthefishguideservice.com, and I'd love to take you out on a fishing trip. We'll see you next time.